Herzlich willkommen, a warm welcome. My name is Trudy Gilganist, and I'm standing in front of the Delaware Historical Society's Old Town Hall Museum. And I'd like to invite you into our exhibit, Old Ways in the New World, German Traditions in the Delaware Valley, 1683 to 1983. This year commemorates the German tricentennial, the arrival of the Germans in America. Programs on both sides of the ocean celebrate the October 6, 1683 arrival of the original 13 families from Krefeld, Germany to the Germantown section of Philadelphia. These Quaker and Mennonite families quickly adapted their talents into growing flax and raising sheep, which was then very quickly developed into the industry of weaving. These immigrants and the many who followed have contributed a very colorful pattern into our own history and culture. Delaware's exhibit aims to show you some of the reasons for the German migrations, to depict the role of the Germans in the Delaware Valley especially, and to develop an appreciation of the rich cultural heritage of individuals of Germanic background. The exhibit also serves to increase a global awareness of the people and their culture, and to draw the comparisons and interrelationships within the historical framework. I'd like to invite you into the museum to view the exhibit with me. Bitte, herein. The large maypole and the silhouette-costumed dancers greet the visitor. The maypole illustrates the joy and happiness of the German Americans in celebrating their traditions. The local ethnic group has always had a very full social calendar and continues to offer activities which express their heritage. Let us first take an overview of the exhibit. The personal artifacts and treasures of the local German American community displayed here weave together their adventure of immigration, their joy of celebration, and the continuing legacy of their heritage. A vivid pattern of love for old traditions and new lifestyles is depicted through the use of relevant materials on display here. The old way of life was not discarded when adapting to the new land, but rather there was a unique blending of the two worlds woven into a stronger and a more colorful fabric of life. Now I invite you to look more closely at the exhibit. By learning more about other people, their way of life, and their language, we better understand and appreciate them. In the first case, Amerika, du hast es besser. America, yours is a fairer lot. It's better over there. Illustrates the decision to emigrate. Letters received from those who had ventured forth encouraged others to follow. The Rhineland-Palatinate is an area from which many came. The Wanderbuch, a passport of a weaver who came to this area. Johann Hirzel, a typical immigrant, was trained as a locksmith and a boilermaker. He settled in Wilmington in the mid-1850s, where he worked for the next 40 years as a machinist, a locksmith, and an inventor. Few personal belongings were brought. However, both utilitarian and aesthetic items were necessary to establish and continue life in the new world. You see the stoneware, the cookie mold, the flax hackle. Since each person could only carry a certain amount with him, decisions as to what to bring were difficult. Education was important. Books and knowledge offered a growing and a becoming self. Girls learned to do handwork and practiced on samplers such as this. The coffee clutch is a German institution. The afternoon coffee is a special time to chat with friends, and the hostess displays her best china served on an embroidered tablecloth. Freshly cut flowers adorn the table, and a favorite torta and other cakes are served. A good bean coffee tastes best when served in a lovely china cup. What a nice way to relax and to enjoy an afternoon. A carpenter's chest such as this one, filled with the tools of the trade, belonged to Gotthold Jäger. Tool chests such as these were necessary items in establishing oneself and obtaining a job in the new world. Mit Fleiß und Gewandtheit, with diligence and skill, illustrates the varied occupations of these people. Brewing was one business that was totally dominated in Wilmington by German immigrants. They brought with them a deep appreciation of the beer's social and healthful properties, as well as the skills to make fine lager brews. Before World War I, over 1/4 of the saloons in Wilmington were German-owned. The Diamond State, Steckels, Hartmann and Fehrenbach, and Bavarian were familiar local breweries in pre-Prohibition Wilmington. In addition to brewing, the local population demonstrated skills such as carvers, coppersmiths, jewelers, chemists, as well as teachers, tailors, machinists, bakers, butchers, and shoemakers. At the turn of the century, Wilmington was a rapidly expanding city which attracted people interested in opening their own business, as well as those interested in working for the various major chemical firms located here. Kannst du noch Deutsch? Do you still know German? How could you forget your mother tongue? Was the question that was asked. Life over here, however, was not entirely work. The German immigrants founded clubs in order to preserve their language and culture and to foster a sense of unity among themselves. The Wilmington Turngemeinde, 1859, was one of the 3 clubs established. The Turner movement, which began in Germany in the early 1800s, combined physical exercises with moral principles of freedom to train children in leadership. The program included gymnastics, team sports, literary and language classes, as well as dancing and theatrical skits. Once a member was over 30 years of age, however, he participated in a separate fellowship group known as Die Bären, the Bears, with their own stuffed bear mascot and the bear language. The oldest German club in Delaware, the Delaware Sängerbund, was founded in 1853. Its members originally met in the home of Heinrich Albert at 6th and Market Streets, where they gathered for group singing. Later, they moved to the German Hall at East 6th Street and joined with the Turners and the Library Association for a few years. The club's purpose has remained the same throughout its history: to provide social activities for the German community, to offer language instruction, and to preserve the German heritage. Concerts, picnics, dinner dances, folk dances, Oktoberfest, Tannenbaumabend, athletic events, and teenage activities provided a very full social schedule throughout the entire year. The Deutscher Bibliotheksverein, the Library Association, founded in 1873, developed a well-rounded library, held meetings at which lectures were given, and stimulated discussions on a variety of topics. It was important to keep the language alive through newspapers, literary and political discussions, and theater and singing groups. These immigrants kept in touch with the language and the culture of the homeland. Befiehl dem Herrn deine Wege. Trust your ways to the Lord. In addition to social institutions, the church was of great importance to these immigrants, for it offered them the spiritual sustenance and the cultural continuity. It was important to worship in their own language. Zion Lutheran Church, 1848, is today the oldest church founded by the local Germans. The German Baptist Church, 1856, and Sacred Heart Roman Catholic Church, 1883, followed, and also offered the spiritual bread to these immigrants. Artifacts and pictures of the original site of Zion are seen here. German was the language from the pulpit until 1912, when declining membership forced an amendment to the Constitution, and the transition to English reflected the process of acculturation and adaptation. Today, Sacred Heart is the only church of the 3 which remains on its original site. Built by many skilled artisans who volunteered their labor and love to erect a house of worship, this edifice is a single local example of the skill and craftsmanship of these early settlers. Several other artifacts here include the baptismal dress and the spoon given as a confirmation gift, as well as the Geburts- und Taufschein, the records of birth and baptism. This trunk, which belonged to my paternal grandmother, illustrates the manner in which the immigrants brought their prized possessions to the New World. These were filled with the necessities of life, things as the feather pillow, the feather bed, articles of clothing, socks, etc., were all, of course, stowed away into the trunk. Notice, too, the handwork, illustration again of the fine craftsmanship of the German housewife. Die liebste Zeit des Jahres, the loveliest time of the year. The German Christmas is truly the favorite time of the year, and is a family affair. The tree is decked with a variety of traditional glass and wooden ornaments. Candles rather than lights are used, and on Christmas Eve a special magic is cast in the warm glow of the tree candlelight. Cookies often hang from the branches, as well as candies such as marzipan and chocolate figures. Notice that this tree, a forerunner of our artificial tree, is made of feathers. Most Germans, however, prefer a live tree because of its natural and genuine beauty and the spruce or pine fragrance in the candlelit room. Many trees are decorated on Christmas Eve after the family eats a light supper. Then, within the intimacy of the family, there may be carol singing, playing of instruments, the eating of the many delicious cookies, and the traditional stollen. Some of these customs and traditions, such as the tree and the carol Silent Night, have become a part of the American Christmas celebrations, and certainly are the traditions still continued by the German Americans. Ich bin sehr gerne hier. I like it here very much, and I do not intend to return to Germany, is the statement which Louisa Schrag wrote to her guardian in 1854. The sentiment expressed by this woman nearly 130 years ago remains true for many of the modern German immigrants. Once the immigrant made a commitment to emigrate, he then had to make a decision to remain in the new country. Here you see that many of these people have found satisfaction with their work, have become involved in the community, and enjoy leisure time activities. All of these show that feet and heart are in the same place, signs of a successful adjustment to a new home. The personal artifacts seen here illustrate a variety of handicrafts and hobbies that reflect skills learned in the Old World, as well as interest in collecting and understanding elements of a proud heritage. For many modern or first-generation Germans, the transition to a new land and a new life has been made without sacrificing the continuity of tradition. The legacy of their heritage continues to be preserved, enriching their lives and those of future generations. The experience of immigration, the process of acculturation and assimilation, and the preservation of traditions is not unique to the Germans. It has been shared by immigrants of all ethnic groups. Although the German immigrants have assimilated more than other ethnic groups, their roots, however, still have a link with home. Their Old World customs and traditions are alive and illustrate the blending and weaving of the German heritage into a richer, fuller, and more contemporary legacy in the New World. The German community of Delaware is proud to share its artifacts and its particular story, and wishes to thank everyone involved in making this a most popular and successful exhibit. Dankeschön.